Today, my goal was to test my current setup at 1,000 yards. I first placed a 2/3 size IPSC steel target at 630 yards and a full-size target at just over 1,000 yards. The 600-something yard target was just to see if I was pretty close before going on out where I really have a hard time seeing impacts that aren't on target. A real quick overview of what I'll be shooting. This is a Ruger precision rifle chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. Picked up this rifle used with it already having a Timney 2-stage trigger installed, but it's mostly stock outside of that. I added an Atlas bipod and more recently a Dead Air Nomad-L Suppressor. But before I could go make these longer yardage attempts, I needed to re-zero my rifle as I'll be trying a new round, Berger's 144 grain long-range hybrid target, and I now have added a suppressor. If time allowed, I should have chronographed these new Berger rounds to have better velocity inputs for my ballistics app, but I went off the box to start and had to correct from there. More on that later. I probably should have been working today, but I saw there was only going to be maybe 1 mile an hour winds in the late afternoon, so I went out back to have some fun. Spending more time getting an exact zero would probably be helpful, but I was sort of in a race against time today. The top target was the first 5 rounds, and the lower was the second 5 rounds, adjusting a little along the way. After getting a rough zero, I had just enough time to move forward and make the 630-yard attempts. I didn't have a spotter, and I had ear protection in at the time, so while I thought I was hearing impacts on target, when I later checked, there was actually no impacts on the steel. I couldn't see well enough to know I wasn't actually hitting the steel at 630, so after hearing the impact, I went ahead and moved on to the 1,000-yard target as I was running out of daylight. Most of those watching can probably tell that I'm actually pretty new to shooting longer range. Prior to owning this rifle, the longest shots I had attempted and made consistently were about 300 to 400 yards. You could say that shooting with almost no wind is cheating, as I really only had to deal with elevation adjustments and not windage, which with any practice of doing this you will understand is a much more difficult variable to adjust for. But it's the perfect opportunity to test out a new setup and see what it can do. They were spread out a little bit. I think this may have been the first impact. I couldn't see well enough in the scope. Probably should have put the paint on a little better. For not having used any chronograph, that's not too bad to get on target. Took a few shots. I was nowhere near what it had for the stock input in stray lock. I had a lot of fun doing this, but it did surprise me how much extra time it took to film this. Thanks for watching.